All right, 5/18 is rough, partially because I have to remember it. And I can't play, given this time, I mean, maybe if I had a week, I could play the whole thing all the way through. But that's when he does the, remember that from the very beginning of this set of videos for the Since I've Been Loving You is, again, which uses that type of pattern in Stairway to Heaven. You hear at the end of that, which, by the way, that is a super cool film. But you hear at the end of that, so it's like, you hear that, it's like it's but I mean it's that real funky, like all over the joint thing. I mean that's Bonham was just the supreme master of that, because he never got thrown off. So if I remember now, I got to remember here. I don't have any vocal there. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, so 444 is just before that. So and then it gets real heavy. Na, na. And then he goes. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that's when he goes. Oh baby, whatever. So Bonham's just going like. Berserker into that. So, but here's another motif of Bonham, which is a simple triplet, 6/8. So you have, and then think of a waltz. Then you kind of invert that a little bit. So. Time and like live 6/8 stuff. So where would that be? So you see how what that break comes out to be is the. Okay, so it's the and out of a 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's the and of the 1. So, and then the 2. So, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a, and then the and, so then the and of the 3. So the and, so 1 and 2 and 3 and the bass drum will hit the 1. Right away though, you have the 1 and, so you have the and is on the snare and the 2 is on the snare. So, okay, and then then the and of the 3. So this is the you know, the clock, the 1 and then sometimes what he do, and I think he does it in there, is the second beat he doesn't do on the and of 3, he does it on the 3. So but then he goes berserker in there, and I got to tell you, I mean, you listen to it a few times. You know, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I have some time, but I don't know if I guess I could spend a jillion years trying to sort out exactly what he's doing there. But I kind of don't want it. I mean, I'm just lazy, I guess. But I mean, if you get the gist of what I'm talking about, though, seriously, like the. If you got like that kind of a thing going. Although there, though, what's so funny about that, though, he lines those things up so well with Plant's voice there. To me, that, especially that part, I mean, that is such a quality part. But again, you know, that all boils down to the. Again, so the right-handed beat, just regular. 1 and 2 and but you double it up. So 1 and 2 and so. and, so the and snare, 2 snare, and of the 3 snare. But then in there, sometimes he'll change it up a little at various points. So maybe just the and of the 1, the 2, and the 3. It's essentially a waltz, but just with an extra snare note instead of. It's. Of course, then his bass drum's going all over the joint in there too. So again, you hear that in there. So again, back to that. So. Or the Stairway to Heaven. Kind of duct tapes those together, knowingly. I mean, because he's such a brilliant drummer, maybe he planned it out ahead. Maybe he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna blow everybody's mind, maybe for a week or whatever." But it came out. So yeah, so he duct taped again. When I say like he'd piece together like the, and then he'd kind of go into like a little funk, and then into something usually with that turnaround. So that's essentially what he's doing in there. But I'm not John Bonham. He's doing it really well. Then he just goes berserker. So that's that part. And then 546. 546. One of the cool, again, this song is just chock full of cool things. At the very end, when Robert Plant screams and blows his voice box, and, you know, Bonham go, and then Jimmy Page goes into almost like a, I won't call it flamenco, but just almost an Italian, like, which is the coolest thing in the world. But Bonham's like. Sure, he comes out of it, but he does, as usual, a cool underhanded reverse Bonham-y fill out of it. But the whole thing is instead of playing straight time under it, he accents it with the bass drum. So the snare drum, believe it or not, is just playing straight time, but he's like. That's all he's doing there. So actually, one of the first ones he does, he leaves one of the bass drum notes up. But anyway, so that's what happens at the end of the tune. So okay, so that's it. He goes right into that. But that's it. And it's just beautiful. And then at the end, instead of the, like what he'd do in the studio, da-na-na-na-na. What he actually does there is, when you do that, na-na-na-na-na, he's actually just doing it with, he's like leaving out all the other notes. So it's like if you're going, but just leave the left hand out. So, but it's just a da-na-na-na-na. As opposed to the right when he'd be like. Anyway, so that's the tune. But again, I think the most important thing in there, which is so Bonham-y, apart from that really cool fill in the end there and all that stuff, is what Bonham does. When you hear him a lot do this when they're jamming, is the I mean, he just kind of get caught up with that in his head, and he just throw that in there, and that is again defines, which is so Bonham-y. So again, sometimes which a good way to kind of think of that groove is, even though he doesn't play it specifically, is trying to think of it. So what would that be? So it'd be like 1E, so 1E and a 2E, and I probably should write that out. But anyway. But that's just a cool groove. That kind of defines sort of the essence of sort of that with Bonham. Again, like the end of the Stairway to Heaven into the solo. There's the turnaround again. You know what I mean? It's like, again, like the Moby Dick. I mean, but it's the same, like... He might hit the crash twice. I mean, he might, like, I don't know, whatever the hell it is. But I know the bass drum and the snare drum pattern is. Okay, so that's a good fill tool. So anyway, that's the best for now I can do on that. Maybe we'll try to chart out that part in that section.